Rodeo time in the Dale Warehouse. We have in the house with us CEO of Mountain Ops, Mr. Trevor Farnes. If you guys are interested in the story of a very successful company that is doing well today, then you're going to love this story. And we also talk about some of the actual products, what they can do for you. And if you've got a journey that you're on health and fitness wise that you're looking for good nutrition, then Mountain Ops is the place for it. Go to mountainops.com and whatever you need, we've got it. So energy, sleep, we've got there's what are all the different lines that you would say? How would you break up
energy, sleep, hydration, everyday wellness, and then a lot of great gear.
Oh, yeah, and then the apparel.
Yep.
So check out Mountain Ops, and we're going to hear the story behind the brand, the story behind the founder, Mr. Trevor Farnes. Thank you for joining us. Pow, pow. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Rodeo Time, the podcast. It's a very special day. We have in the house with us Mountain Ops. We've been ranching and rodeoing all day. I have sitting with me the CEO, Mr. Trevor. How do you pronounce your last name?
Farnes.
Farnes.
Like Farnes, but with an F.
There you go. Trevor Farnes, and he has come all the way from Utah, where Mountain Ops is headquartered.
Correct.
And you guys got the full ranching experience. How do you feel right now?
On a little bit of a high. You wake up early. We spent some time in the gym together this morning, and then went out on the horses and honestly, just grateful for the opportunity. It's eye-opening, and it's a great experience for our team to come and have with you.
So what we did was well, thank you, number one. Trevor reached out. He said he wanted his team to kind of experience Winnebago, Radiator Ranch. Mm-hmm. And so we gathered a set of cows, and we stripped the cows off the calves, and then we drug calves, did a little flanking. And if you watch any of our videos, then you guys out there have probably seen how that works. But these guys, not very much experience on a horse, very little.
Yep.
I mean, out in the middle of nowhere, gathering this pasture. How did you feel like that we were kind of stuck together at the beginning of the pasture?
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, I'm going to go this way, and you go that way. And you're kind of by yourself out in the middle of.
You weaned me off, huh?
How did that feel?
Well, it felt like you had some confidence in me that I didn't have in myself at the time, but I went with it and had a rascal of a horse. What was the name again?
Bandito.
Bandito. Yeah, and he was a bandito. He wanted to move every which direction, but that was kind of fun. And after a bit, I felt pretty comfortable, and it was a blast. We had a blast. We have our COO Nick Hanks here with us, and Thad, our CMO, and all of us. Thad's had a little bit more experience, but Nick and I only a few rides on the horses, and so that was quite the adventure.
Yeah, looking back, I probably definitely should have put Thad on Bandito. I guess he's a little taller. Bandito is a tiny horse, but it worked out. So it's a simple pasture. It's one that we will take interns to, especially for their first couple of times gathering, because it's the layout is pretty simple. It's a square. It's got a big hill running through it, and the cows have been gathered a lot, and so I'm able to teach the interns, like, this is where you need to be and when. This is how you address the other cowboys. This is the etiquette behind it. This is what you do in these situations with cows, and it's as much of a controlled environment as you can have for ranching and cowboying, because sometimes it can get a little wild.
Yeah, and I learned a bit about etiquette today. I mean, I had to get corrected a few times there, but I appreciated the construction, the constructive criticism, and the coaching there. That was good for us.
Well, and really, I would be doing someone a disservice if I didn't just explain, like, hey, this is why we do this. This is why, and essentially what he's talking about is, for those of you out there that have been ranching, you might know what's coming, but some of you may not. It is technically considered rude to ask someone how many cows they have or how many acres they have. And
I didn't ask all the questions. I think it was shared amongst
probably
the group.
Thad. Mostly Thad.
Mostly Thad. Let's throw him under.
I don't get frustrated, and usually anyone asked that don't get frustrated. Like my traveling partner, Jeremy Melanson, whenever we were rodeoing together, I heard him ask somebody. I was like, man, you're not supposed to ask that to people. And he was like, yes, you can. He's like, why? I was like, it's just like me asking you how much you made last year after taxes. It's the same thing, same conversation. And he was like, he asked a bunch of people at the rodeo, and it was just like all 10 out of 10. He was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was a thing.
Ticked everyone off, huh?
I said, yeah, I've been dating this girl for 3 years. I still don't know how many cows her and her husband have. Okay, because it's rude to ask. You know what I'm
saying? Oh, that's hilarious. But for us, you have so much more than all of us have. So we're looking at it thinking, I don't have a single cow. I don't, right. I've got maybe 1 acre, where we're at. Right. So what you have is a lot more than what we have back at home. So
yes, sir.
It's curious for us to know and to see how you guys live and to see how vast, your property, your opportunities and all that are. So,
well, for some reason, even before we were making videos about it, like I've always been in a position where I was the guy that people reached out to, and maybe every cowboy's like this, rodeo cowboys alike, but in college, and especially in college, I was always getting reached out to by people that wanted to learn how to ride bulls. And so I've just gotten in the swing of it, and now I get to do it through the intern program. And when you guys called, I was like, this is going to be a blast, because I already had it set up,
Yep.
And
we had watched it on Netflix. I mean, we've been working for you for a little, not working for you. I would like an internship, please. Working with you for a little bit now. But after watching the Netflix series with my family and laughing our heads off, and then hearing you on Cam Haynes, who is another one of our incredible ambassadors, just kind of fell in love with your story and what you do and who you are and what you're all about. And that's when I reached out to you. That's when I got a little bit deeper glimpse into who Del Brisby is, and knew we had to come out here and experience a day in the life of you.
So you got to experience the ranching in the morning. We had lunch, and then we bucked bulls afterwards. How nervous were you when your CMO was down in the chute about to get on a bull?
I told him after. Thad's been with us for about 9 months now. He's a great CMO. I want him around as our CMO for a long time, but I told him after, man, I was up there saying some prayers for you. And he had a good fall right off of it. If I could have guaranteed that's exactly how I was going to go off, I would have followed right behind, but there's just no guarantees, right? So I've got a family vacation next week. My wife said, you're going on with us. So I kind of played it a little bit safe, but I was a bit nervous for him, but super excited. Being that close to all the actions, exciting for me. I've loved the PBR, loved the NFR, going to those events, and usually sitting there just, taking in all that it is, and the animals especially. I love watching those bulls and the broncs, and so seeing him, brave up and get on the back of one of those is pretty incredible.
Yes, sir. Well, CEO of Mountain Ops, let's hear your story. And usually I may have a more specific question to ask along with that, but really I guess like how you want to tell it, like as the Mountain Ops story, how is it that you would tell the world that story? Like where would you start and go from there?
All right. Well, first and foremost, I am a husband and a father, and I love my wife and my children. My wife and I actually a week ago celebrated our 20th anniversary, and we were pretty young when we got married. She was 18, I was 21, and that's kind of how it's done there in Utah. So, and we started having kids right away. Our oldest is almost 19, and so when we got married, my responsibilities changed in life. I was all of a sudden responsible to provide, preside, and protect over this new family that my wife and I had started to create. And I was doing fairly well for a period of time and saved up enough money to where we wanted to go and invest in our own businesses. That was kind of always the goal, to start our own thing, run our own business, and experience that adventure of life. and wasn't exactly sure what we were going to do, but we were presented with a few opportunities, and we bought into them. One of them was in real estate, one of them was within a franchise, and within a few months, both of them were just failing. I mean, this was 2007. Dang. Going into 2008, real estate was horrible. The franchise that we had bought into, we opened up 7 of them, and I should have started small. I should have scaled up, tried it with one, put my toe in, but instead we dove headfirst into this opportunity.
Do you want to talk about more specifics of those 2 things? Is that like what kind of real estate? Like
real estate, we bought a few properties that we were leasing out, that we were renovating and then leasing out, and then we bought some land that we were going to subdivide.
Gotcha.
And then things just kind of went downhill in the real estate market. Everything crashed. Right. The values were dropped, and we were that was our first opportunity in real estate. And
in 2007
going into 2008.
You know what? I'd like to get into some real estate.
Let's do this.
Have you seen Fun with Dick and Jane?
Yeah. Yep.
At the very end, there's that one guy, and he's kind of like, I don't know if antagonist is but he's like the bad guy, and it's whatever year it's in. He's like, oh, what do you do? Well, I'm going to invest in a company called Enron.
Yep, I remember that. That's
and they
hilarious.
all just kind of, good luck.
Yeah, good luck with that one. No, it's hilarious. Our timing was perfect. I mean, the one thing that we had going for it, we had perfect timing for it to just crash around us. But and then we signed 7 for those franchises, 7 5-year guaranteed leases on the buildings that and that was real estate, for the spaces we were running these businesses out of. And within a few months, that franchise got shut down. So with it, we had to shut down for a period of time, and I just didn't have the cash flow to keep it going.
Yeah, so it didn't necessarily have anything to do with anything you had.
Didn't have anything to do with us. It was literally within about 3 months of opening up, and it had to get shut down. I won't get into the specifics there because there's just too long of a story there, and I don't want to throw anyone under the bus that way. I chose to write that check.
I understand.
There was some things out of our control, but I could have written the check for one store, and it would have hurt a lot less. But honestly, some of those pains became our biggest purpose in life. We learned so much as a couple, and we didn't give up. And I've got an incredible wife who didn't give up on me when I thought I was failing. I couldn't provide. We were hungry. We weren't starving, but we struggled to provide food for our kids, and food was kind of always on the top of mind. What would we give them to eat? The cupboard was bare often. We started diving into food stores that we had saved up, and that wasn't fun. I mean, we were cracking our own wheat, which was good to learn that skill to make things last longer, but it didn't settle well on the bellies. And so often we'd get groceries dropped off at our doorstep, or, different ways that people helped us with food. And there was definitely some food insecurities at the time, and it was through that we realized there was a lot of people around us struggling with a similar thing, especially during 2008. A lot of businesses were struggling, and people's investments weren't going well. And so we found that it wasn't just us. And in our neighborhood where we live in Utah, it still is 1 in 4 kids that go home every day from school without enough food in the pantry. And that was kind of a startling statistic for me. I didn't know that, but now I did. Through personal experience, I understood a need that existed right in my own backyard. Mm-hmm. And we can get into it in a bit, but we've used that knowledge and that experience, that perspective, those new eyes to see, to actually do something about it. At Mountain Ops, we do quite a bit to feed the hungry, and it's because of those experiences that we had that had we not been there, we wouldn't be here doing what we're doing now, Mm-hmm. So it definitely opened up our eyes. So went through a bunch of business failures for a handful of years, and they were just all kind of transactional, nothing really serious, nothing. I'm a very purpose-driven, mission-driven individual, and those businesses that I was trying to transact on were, I was just trying to get a little bit of revenue in for my family. That was it. And so there wasn't a lot of purpose behind them. But as I shared with you and your team and your family last night, there was a time I was introduced to a book called No More Heart Disease. And that's kind of where my product development mind started going. Was I read this book, talked all about heart disease, and we have a history of it in my family. And I know you do as well. And so my dad had just had a few stents put in his heart, couldn't feel his fingers and toes. And I read this book that talked about ingredients you could use to increase blood flow to allow for more, feeling in the extremities and to help with neuropathy, pain, and numbness. And so I took that book to a chemist and asked him to dive into it with me and figure out a concoction we could put my dad on. And he did, and within a few days, he started to feel the fingers and toes again, and there was a little bit of sensation, and then ultimately it started to come back. His cardiologist said that he would have open heart surgery within 5 years, and it's been 13 years now. He's been on that product, which is known as Enduro at Mountain Ops, and that was kind of my start into supplementation. It all started with the heart, with my father. Now I had purpose, now I had mission, and something to really go after, because I had both grandfathers died of either heart attack or stroke, and my father was kind of right there on that verge, and we wanted to prevent it, my brothers and I, and so we found a product we could prevent it with, or maybe that's a little too much of a claim. Maybe help prevent if people could take it and see the benefit from. But that's what we did, and we started selling through doctors' offices.
Yes, sir.
We did that for a handful of years, and then decided we needed some help with marketing, design, and such for that business. And Nick Hanks, who's here with us today, he's been with me 6 months into that process. He joined me and came from Goldman Sachs, left an incredible job, took some risk. His father had a heart attack. He understood the product and the need and the benefit from it. And then we found a great partnership. And so we went just full bore ahead with that product. But then we needed some help with the marketing, and found through a group of guys that we ended up partnering with that there was an incredible opportunity within hunting and within the outdoors, with a massive hunter-athlete movement that was happening at the time. And we had a handful of products that were benefiting a lot of people's lives. But now we found this new channel we could go after, and a passionate group of individuals who loved what they did, loved being in the outdoors. It was what they talked about, dreamt about, ate about, everything,
Right.
And most of these hunters hunt 7 to 10 days a year, but they think about it and they prepare for it the rest of the time. And so we had a product now that could be a part of their lives every single day of the year and activate that passion of the hunter within them.
It's crazy that like what percentage of your time you spend hunting, but how much passion and thought people put into it throughout the year.
It's incredible.
One thing that I think is interesting, you went the franchise route, you tried to go the real estate route, and those are like wise moves. Like, you're trying to do something wise with your money. You're trying to be proactive, and you're taking risks. And then, those doors were closed. You weren't going to give up. But then this other direction that involved your dad and his health, it's almost like, you were self-aware enough. It's like to go in the direction that meant something to you. It's there was nothing wrong with those other directions that you went. Maybe the timing wasn't right. But that's just an interesting part of the story. Like, it's like this other route you probably had a lot more passion and drive behind those than maybe the other two ventures. I don't know. That's just an observation.
Tons of passion. No, I completely agree. A lot more passion. And when you are a passionate, mission-driven individual, you've really got to have that. And so if you don't, you're gonna find it one way or another. And you're gonna either have divine delays that make you turn another direction, or you're going to do it yourself. For me, it felt like there was just these divine things that kept happening that pointed me in the right direction, and they took time. And I think sometimes that's where people give up and they fail, or they just quit, is because they don't put in enough time. Mm-hmm. I think you could understand things take time, and I believe that a God who gives us the time we have gives us the right time, the time we need, and I think all too often people just quit too quick. And they prioritize things the wrong way. And so while it was taxing and it was hard and it was a struggle, like, we tried to just have those eyes to see what God was trying to teach us along the way, and how he was trying to, route us in the right direction for things to line up. Because through some of those opportunities, I was introduced to people, even though those things failed, I was introduced to people that could help me get a supplement made and that type of thing.
Yes, sir.
And it put me in a place where I really had to dig deep, and my faith plays a big role in everything I do. And so, had things just come easy, I might have thought that it was something good I was doing, and so, right. Finding those stumbling blocks or those mountains that I had to conquer turned me to a God who I believe guides and directs my decisions and my direction, and can for each of us. And so, when we started Mountain Ops, our number one core value was recognize God, because I felt like he had he had brought this all together. He
Yes,
had
sir.
brought the right people into place, and that ultimately was huge for me as well. You know, I couldn't go at it alone, and I'm a simple man, simple businessman, a big heart. I want to help people improve their lives, do good, but I need people around me, and hopefully people need me around them so that we can do more together. One of our core values at Mountain Ops is interdependence, that we can do more together than we collectively than we could on our own.
Yes, sir.
And that's been the case. We've got the most incredible team that's brought, you know, their individual talents, and they play their own roles and responsibilities, and it's to the mission that we have to improve the lives of individuals and families in everything we do. And so that's been the most incredible part for me, is it takes time to assemble a team that's ready to go at something the way we have and the mission that we have. And so we've just trusted in God to help us over time put things in place to where they are today, and there's still a long way to go.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So one of my friends at American Hats, Keith Mundy, he said, it's, you know, you pour water on a table and you just see where it goes. And I remember, like, whenever I was getting started, you know, I had a drive. I've always sold something, like even as a third grader, you know, like I'd go on a field trip. Like my first experience with sales, like we didn't have a ton of money. Like, we were hungry at times, but like we were gonna eat eventually.
Yeah.
You know, like we weren't at the bottom of the totem pole. We dang sure weren't at the top either. So anyways, like I went to this field trip, didn't have a lot of money for food. I had $2 or $3, but I had a bunch of yo-yos, and yo-yos were hot at the time. And so went on this field trip, sold a bunch of yo-yos, had oil where I was oiling bearings on yo-yos.
Wow.
And sold them all, came back, had bought my lunch, and had like $18 or something, you know, like something silly. But I've always been a salesman, but
Yeah.
the way that I came about doing what I'm doing today was, you know, I don't want to say by accident, but we didn't plan it.
Right.
And kind of like what you're saying with these other failures, they led to you meeting different people. And in here, we're not here to talk about rodeo time, but I can tell about, you know, the decision tree that led us to where we are today was 100% being guided by God's hand.
Yeah.
You know, and the ways in which these different people came about, you know, even the interns that are here. And
I even think look at the two of us sitting here and how our paths have gone down, and
Yes,
now
sir.
we're sitting here on this couch. You taught me to ride a horse today, and we did things that, you know, were new to us.
Yes,
And but had we not followed that path that God just laid out before us, that we couldn't have expected, couldn't have predicted, but it brings people into our lives that change our lives, and that through those relationships we can in turn change other people's lives. And again, that interdependence, we do things collectively, even as partnerships, not just, you know, teammates at Mountain Ops, but the partnerships that we have now have more power and influence to help others in need than we did before, not knowing each other, you know?
Yes, sir. So back to so you got started. You had the obstacles. You get started with Mountain Ops. What year would you like officially say Mountain Ops was started?
Mountain Ops started in 2014 in July, so we're almost to our 9th year of business.
Gotcha.
Yep. And like I said, it came together with our original business with selling through doctors' offices and products that we had, and then partnering with a group of individuals who understood marketing and branding, and our branding just kind of resonated super, super well within the hunting industry. And we had a unique voice and an authentic voice from hunters. But at the time, I didn't hunt. I was brand new to it. I had a passion for fueling the passions of others with the products I was creating. But I had never hunted. I grew up in the outdoors, but mainly biking and skiing and that type of thing, and hiking and such. But I didn't understand the passion that was there until about a year into it, when I decided to dive headfirst in. And since then, I've kind of become the pioneer of hunting in my family. One of the things that I loved about learning how to hunt was, you know, I'd just come off of this series of years of failures and events that caused our family to be hungry. And now I had a way to feed my family. I could go out on the mountain and I could harvest an animal, and I could fill an entire freezer with protein for my family. And we knew where it came from. We knew how it was processed.
Yes, sir.
And now I started to feel like I was providing again,
Yes,
which
sir.
was so important to me to feel. and now it was a new way. And that for me became the first initial, like, okay, this is special to me. I'm going to go out, I'm going to learn it. Wasn't sure exactly how much I'd love it. I took my father on his first hunt when he was 77, and he came away not necessarily loving it, but he said, I haven't fallen in love with hunting, but I've fallen in love with what hunting can do for relationships. And so it was food. And then more importantly than anything, it's become a relationship builder for me and my family, to be undistracted from the world, cell phones off. We don't even have internet connection. And I've taken my wife and I've taken all 4 of my children on many different hunts all around the world, where we've been disconnected from the world for a period of time, and it's just time and attention focused on them, which is the most important thing for me. And then meeting people throughout the world, and just like this, where it's relationships for me that matter most, and I just think it's incredible that brands and companies can create strong bonds between people who have similar core values, similar beliefs, and they're carrying forth a mission, whatever it may be. But I love that that's what business has done for me, what hunting has done for me. And so, yeah, we dove headfirst into hunting with all of my family. My mom, even a couple years ago, 75 years old, took her on her first elk hunt, and the first bullet she's ever shot, and she got an incredible, like, 320 bull. Yeah, and it worked out just perfect. But it was definitely some divine intervention and some divine design in her hunt. But that's what I love about hunting as well, is getting out in the outdoors, recognizing all the beauty of creations, but then taking it back to the creator, making sure that it's pointing us to him.
Right.
And so it's been an awesome passion for my family to now have in our family.
Yes, sir. So in those 9 years that Mountain Ops has been rolling, what experience, have you had any setbacks? And if you did, like, how did you draw from previous failures that kind of helped you work through those?
Really good question. Yeah, usually it's the delays in life that I just feel like sometimes things don't go our way, or they don't go as planned. And I've just learned one of the most important things is, like, I've learned you just have patience, work through it. You've got to grit things out. You've got to work through the tough times. You've got to conquer the mountains, where a lot of people would just give up and back down the mountain, try to find a smaller one to climb. That's not how life is. And once you get to the top of one mountain, you're going to find another,
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I think that's one of the more important lessons. And then on top of that, it's finding people that have similar core values and beliefs that you can trust in, that you can build a life around, and that you can work hand in hand to climb those mountains. We have a statement we say at Mountain Ops all the time, that they rise highest who lift as they go. And so it's finding people that are willing to climb the mountain with you, put in the time, put in the attention and the grit that it takes, and they're lifting you along the way, and sometimes you're lifting them. But I've just found that life isn't always easy, and that's okay. And there's supposed to be things that we learn through that. For example, we, going through those tough times, we've utilized what we learned from being hungry to now feed the hungry. There's a quote I love, that you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. And that's what we're doing now at Mountain Ops. We're taking a portion of every order that comes through Mountain Ops, and we're donating a meal to a child in need. And we've just hit about 4.4 million meals. We'll hit 5 million meals this year. And it's because we've been there, we understood, we saw the need, we've gained perspective and eyes to see, and I feel a stewardship to do something about that. I feel like God gave me experience to then use, and to not just leave that as, yeah, that was a bad experience, that was really hard. Like, what were we supposed to see from that? If God truly is in the details, then what is the detail that he needed me to understand? And my wife and I made a commitment to each other long ago when we were going through the hard times, that as soon as we had a few loaves and a few fishes, we loved the stories of Jesus. We loved the miracles. And we just said to each other, as soon as there's a few loaves and a few fishes to work with, not when the boat comes in full and we're set and we're ready and we're financially free. As soon as we had some resources to work with, we'd multiply them for the masses. But that took teamwork. That couldn't just be us. And honestly, it wasn't that we planned to multiply them for the masses to begin with. It was just like, he's given us a resource. Let's try to use the resource that's not ours, and let's try to share it and help others enjoy it. And then what's transpired has just been awe-inspiring to me to see a group of people so passionate, even our customer base, knowing that a portion of their order goes to feed a child in need. And we hold these events and people gather and we pack the meals that go out to these children. And every Friday, these packs go in backpacks as kids go home from school. Dang. And they have something to eat on the weekend. Even just in our own neighborhood, there's 3,600 of those that go home every Friday. And so now we've started to take that and multiply it throughout the country with partners like Feeding America, but we also go and do our own events outside of Utah to help in other communities. And it's a small part of what we do, but it literally is the biggest part of who we are at Mountain Ops. You know, we're providing nutritional supplements, and there's a lot of people that can afford them and they buy them, and that's awesome. They help us with this resource to provide for those that can't afford to supplement for their nutrition.
You bet.
You know, they could never fathom that. They're looking for a meal. And then we fill a belly. We put food in a child, and it does so much more than put food in it. It inspires them. It hopefully removes a distraction that they have as they go to school each day, as they try to socialize. Right. And hopefully it's inspiring some hope and confidence in their future and their ability to grow as the next generation. So
it's crazy that Enduro was such a important part of Mountain Ops history, just because like that's one of the products I lean on the most, like especially doing as much running as I have over the last year. Is it technically an energy drink? Does it
definitely provides a natural energy, but it more so is, I would say, a cardiovascular and endurance product. So if you're doing running, you're going to see incredible results because it's dilating your blood vessels and arteries, allowing for more blood flow.
Gotcha.
And that's great for oxygenation and just helps you go further. So a lot of endurance athletes will use it.
Gotcha. Because I would take it first thing in the morning, because if I'm gonna go on a long run, like sometimes I try to, because I like getting up really early.
Yeah.
So that means if I'm not careful, if I just start with caffeine at 4 a.m., that means by the end of the day I might have a lot. Well, anyways, like first thing I'm gonna do is run, and so like enduro is how I would start. And then I got to noticing whenever I was buying it that it wasn't in the same category as Ignite.
Yeah.
And I found that interesting. And then the more you explained it, the product makes sense to me. But I love it. And it's crazy that it means that much to you for that reason, that it's one of my favorite. I feel like it's like a sleeper.
Yeah.
Like because everybody, really likes caffeine.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And Ignite has the exact same formulation of Enduro, so people are getting those benefits, but it has the caffeine, so people want to feel that immediately, that immediate energy burst. And then it has a Brain Ignite blend in the Ignite that helps with cognitive function with some nootropic ingredients. But the Enduro is where it all started. It has that base formula, and if you look at heart health in America, I mean, we need some help with heart health. It's one of the top killers in America, and so for me and my family, it gave us a lot of passion to go after with that product, and then to spin off some of the Yeti and Ignite using the same base formula. We know we're still benefiting people and their heart health, and that's important to us because that's where it all started.
That's wild. My dad died from a heart attack in 2013. He was 55, and so it motivated me in a big way.
Yeah.
To rodeo has always been a motivator for me for my physical fitness. Like you just, if you're gonna ride bucking horses and bulls, you got to be fit.
Yep.
And you can't be out of shape. So that was always a motivator. But as time went on, after my dad died, I started and hearing Jacobs Crawley, who when he told me this, I think he might have been it was the year he won the world in 2015, which would have been the 5th year that he made it to the NFR. He's been 10 times, but he said 3 words, and it was quality of life.
Yeah.
And it was one of the first times that it really clicked with me that because I was rodeoing heavy, and I didn't even consider that. Well, I'd been in shape my whole life, so like I had that quality of life, and I began to it began to be an added benefit. Like, yes, rodeo, also quality of life. Yeah. And after my dad died, and I thought about it more and more, it was just like longevity of life. Yeah. And it became a huge motivator. And I just can't not think about it, and everybody that's been working out and getting after it, you know, when you've got that little system going and momentum, then you get out of the gym and you get that little bit of like, oh dang, I got to get back. Like that just lives in me, as I'm sure it does a lot of people. That
100%.
You know, just thinking about everybody in my family, like by the time I'm, you know, his age, like it just puts a deadline on it for me.
Yeah.
My dad having died at 55, like, and then because after the Netflix show, I went in and they were like, yeah, you got pretty high cholesterol, and which, who knows, you know, half of the people that die from heart disease have low cholesterol. Who knows exactly what causes it? But the point is, it just made me think, and I was like, oh dang, that means I have X amount of years left, you know. And it was like, do you want to know when you die? Because if you keep doing what you, if you keep going down this path, it's going to be at this year.
Yeah.
And so that's just kind of the way it clicked with me. And so I've been on carnivore diet for like 3 months. It's a carnivore Mountain Ops hybrid.
Yeah, that's awesome.
To call it.
That's really cool.
It's like all the Mountain Ops products, carnivore, and fruit. But
awesome. Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, you look at quality of life and time we have, and you might look out and say, I've got about this amount of time, but who knows? It could be tomorrow. We don't know what's guaranteed. And so
true. It's for me, just not to interject.
Yeah.
The only thing for me and the way I look at it is like, I'm not necessarily, I mean, I could die before 55. That part isn't necessarily what scares me. It's more like I've got, you see people that they could have prevented it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to die from texting and driving.
Yep.
I don't want to die because I, ate trash food for the last 30 years of my life.
Yeah.
Like I want to be, if a trucker falls asleep and crosses over the line, I can't help that.
Right.
But I want to make wise decisions every day.
Yeah.
That lead to me, at least whenever I am 54, right, a year before that time comes, that I'm able to have some spring in my step
100%.
And have quality of life.
And it's a choice, right? And that's where I was going with that. And because I completely agree. There's certain things that could happen, and then there's our choices today that can make the quality of life so much greater. And I think that's where Mountain Ops is a little different than most supplement companies out there, and even our culture, and maybe different than a lot of companies out there, whether it's in the supplement industry or a different channel, is that we really focus on quality of life being this in 4 quadrants, really: spiritual, physical, mental, and social. And that's what we focus on. That's our conquer more mentality, is that every day we have a choice. And today, what are we doing today in each of those quadrants that's a little better than yesterday, and tomorrow a little better than today? And that's the progress we should be making, progress over perfection. But we feel like overall quality of life and wellness should not just be in a physical realm either. It's got to be in these different realms of life, so that we truly experience quality and with whatever time we're given. So that's important for us at Mountain Ops. At headquarters, we do a monthly Conquer More Challenge. We all have an accountability partner, and we all have to set goals within each of those realms. And it's not a lot of goals. It's one new goal, just conquer more, one more.
Yeah, sure.
And so we hold each other accountable to that. We win and lose as a team each month, and then we've tried to take that out to our community. But we believe you can't give what you don't have, so you first need to be living it yourself. And so that's kind of the culture we've created at Mountain Ops, is to conquer more within our own life, so that we can go out and help others do the same.
So the way the economy is right now, you're on an elevator, you got about 90 seconds, young entrepreneur, like what kind of advice? You've talked about patience, but what's like you got time to talk about 1 or 2 principles. What would you tell a young person wanting to start a business in 2023 if a 2008 type scenario could be potentially on the horizon?
Yeah. I would tell them never to go against who they are. If they've got a set of core values they've lived by, that they identify by, and this is who they are, then stay true to that. No amount of money or success can compensate for failing as who you are. So stay true to whatever core values you believe in, and hopefully they're core values that benefit the lives of others. And then from there, I feel like for me, it's being true to core values that's helped carry me through. It's caused me to make decisions that have led me to where I'm at today, and then finding people that have the same core values that I can partner with, that I can grow with. This life wasn't meant to go it alone. And so, one of the things we say at Mountain Ops is to connect and conquer. And so find those that you can connect with on the same value set and go after your mission, go after your, who you are and what you're about. Ultimately, for me, a connection with God, to connect and conquer with him, and to have faith lead you, step out of your comfort zone and go into the darkness at times, but do it hand in hand with him, and know that there's a higher power that can guide and direct you along that path. Because there's going to be decisions that come up for a young entrepreneur or me and any of us that we're just going to have to trust in the decisions we're making, but hopefully we can lean on a higher power to get there.
One of my biggest surprises as a business operator, I would say that probably the biggest challenge for me, looking at, aside from just trying to make money decisions and manage money, that one is probably the more taxing list on my responsibility on my list of responsibilities. But one of the things that's most surprising to me is how challenging it would be to manage people. And I don't know, I think I heard you say Mountain Ops has 50.
Yep. By the end of this year, we'll have
employees.
About 60. Yep. So just over 50 right now.
That blows my mind, managing 50, 60 employees. And tell me, number one, your thoughts on managing those people and the culture of it. And then number two, if maybe what was most surprising for you over the last 9 years.
Yeah. Well, you hit on it. Culture is number one for us for hiring. It's very much culture before talent. And we've stuck with that from the beginning. And so we have people that have been there from the very beginning, and we've got, individuals that I can't ever see leaving. Now, if they did, we would celebrate that this was a stepping stone in their progress, in their progress in life, and the next step is on to their next adventure, and we would celebrate it with them. So that's the kind of culture we've created, and it's been a culture where it's almost like a university of life there at Mountain Ops. We have book clubs, we have leadership trainings. We focus on our core values more than I think many companies out there where there's trainings. There's a focused core value of the month every single month, and we train on it. Part of our Conquer More goal is with that, but I don't manage those individuals all myself, and that's where it comes back to each core value, interdependence being one and trust being another. We've put together a team of individuals and managers and directors that I trust 100%, and we have this interdependent relationship where they can go and make decisions on their own to manage those team members, as long as those decisions are in line with the core values and the brand. The brand for me isn't the mark. It's who we are. It's what we say. It's how we act. It's how we treat people. And the core values direct those decisions. And so as long as we are living in harmony with those core values and beliefs, we enhance our brand experience with everyone that's involved. If we go against those, then we diminish the experience that everyone has. And so it's very easy for me. I don't like drama. I don't like conflict. But if there's something that needs to be corrected, it can always be pointed back to a core value. And we can say, okay, where are we off when it comes to trust or service or community or whatever the core value is that we're off on? And that is something that from the get-go, people, when they join Mountain Ops, they agree to live. These are the core values that we live by here at Mountain Ops. And this is the decision-making factors. And if we go against them, we're going to have to talk about it. So it makes the conversations a lot easier when things need to be corrected. And none of us are perfect, and we understand that. And so creating a culture and an atmosphere where people are safe to make mistakes, safe to choose, and they make decisions. But then it's a test, learn, and apply environment. And if you ever cut out that safety for them, if they can't make those decisions on their own, it cuts out innovation and creativity and all that. So they're volunteering their time to be there at Mountain Ops. Yes, they get a paycheck for it, but they could go somewhere else and work. So, we want them to fully believe in the mission and the culture of Mountain Ops, and not only volunteer their time, but their heart and their soul. And those core values become so much more than words written on the wall. It becomes, words written upon their hearts and their actions. And so that's been super important. I forget your second question.
What was the most surprising issue you had to deal with over the 9 years? For me, it was the people. I thought that was, it's not that I thought it was going to be easy. I just didn't think it was going to be that hard. But was there something that surprised you?
Yeah, without giving a long answer, I think my favorite thing about business is people, and the hardest thing about business is people. Yeah. You know, there's such a human element, and everyone has, you know, sensitivities and feelings, and it's all, everyone's are a little different. And so learning to adapt to different individuals, while the core values still stay the same, the mission still stays the same, that doesn't mean that everyone is the same. Mm-hmm. And that's good. You know, you want a variety, you want diversity, you want different thoughts and opinions, but definitely the most difficult thing has been when somebody is out of line or out of touch, or, you know, going against the core values or against what the mission is all about. And that's difficult, because you have to have that hard conversation.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I don't get to sit down with a lot of CEOs that often. And so that's just one of those questions that, you know, a lot of people out there are maybe considering starting. One thing I have learned, though, like I always wanted to do my own thing, mm-hmm. and it was mainly because I needed the freedom to also rodeo. Yeah. And so if I were able to do something where I was the boss, I could let myself go work on, you know, go leave work on Thursday and go rodeo for 4 days. And so, you know, I feel like there's a lot of people out there that do want to do their own thing. But also, like my number 2, Lisa, single mom, 5 kids, and she, no grass is growing under her. Like, this woman works harder than anybody in this whole warehouse. But she is completely content with being number 2. Like, she is so at peace with it. She does not have to have her own thing. She is going to work her buns off and work circles around everyone. But at 5 o'clock, she'll be like, all right, you don't need anything else? I'm going to go see my family. You know, and she turns it off, and she doesn't have to worry about it. She doesn't have to think about it. She leaves that to me. And she'll say that, you know. And so that is a super neat dynamic. That's now, awesome. She works so hard, because I think you probably would agree with this, that a healthy relationship is where each of us are trying to outdo the other. Yeah. Like Romans 12:10, I think it is, outdo one another in doing it. But so she tries to over-deliver to me. I try to over-deliver to her, and it works out in her favor, you know, paycheck-wise. Awesome. Yeah. And so I think that is a prerequisite to that situation. But to me, I always thought that everybody had to start their own mountain ops. They had to start their own rodeo time, and that's just not the case. Yeah. Because, you know, like Donnie, he's got a dream of rodeo, and he is completely okay with working for me while he chases that dream. And so anyhow, I just awesome. I'm curious what you would say to a young entrepreneur in that scenario.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely going to work more than you ever have in your life, and it doesn't come with a lot of breaks. But when you need to take a break and you need to go on a family vacation or whatnot, I mean, I wanted that freedom to be able to say, okay, I've got to do this. But it also comes with its sacrifice of time that you have to put the time and attention in. When 5 o'clock comes around, it just doesn't stop. You know, the calls don't stop, the messages don't stop. What I've found is, once I've been able to help, you know, put together a team, some of the messages stop, but there's different ones that then come. If you're on a growth trajectory, there's always going to be something new that you're learning and growing, and relationships that are being built. So it never really turns off, and that can be hard on a family. You know, my wife has been incredible, and not every spouse could be that type of support. Not every home environment could allow for that. But we look at business a little different maybe than most business owners, where it's not our life. It is a resource to our life, and it becomes an asset to do the things that we want to do in life. And we've tried to create a culture at Mountain Ops where we can do a lot of those things, and it doesn't have to be just authored by me because, you know, I'm one of the founders or I'm the CEO. There's a lot of people that have great ideas, and we try to incorporate them. And I can be an extra in their life, and they're the star on their stage. You know, it's not the Trevor Farnes show at Mountain Ops. It's everyone. Their first week there, I usually sit down with them and I say, "What were you doing in 2014?" And they tell me, and I was like, "Okay, what you were doing then while we were starting this was preparing you, and it was preparing us for you. And now we're together. You know, God's led us together now at this time, and we're able to utilize all the experience we've gained to add to the culture and the mission that we're all about." And so I try to make sure that each of my team members feels like they have ownership over whatever their roles and responsibilities are. And if they've got a dream to accomplish certain things in life, then I want to be there to support them. And it might happen at Mountain Ops, or it might be a stepping stone at Mountain Ops to go to something else. And that's okay. I want to be there for them all the way. But I would just say, for a young entrepreneur getting started, it's not a 9 to 5. It becomes your life. It becomes, you've got to go, just whole heart, all in.
Yeah. I was laughing just because I thought about that question. What were you doing, 2014? And I think about all my interns. You got to be 21. They're all 21.
Yeah.
What were you doing in 2014?
Yeah. No, I've asked a few that were in elementary.
I was in 5th grade, and I was doing my homework, and I was trying to get through 5th grade is what I was doing.
Yeah. What did you learn in 5th grade that now helps you here? Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, it was maybe the second intern. Like, he was talking to me about this or that, and I was like, how old? I don't remember how the conversation went, but I think I got on my first bronc. How old were you this year or whatever? He said 5. I got on my first bucking horse when you were 5 years old. But
that's awesome.
Anyhow, the intern program's been fun. These guys they're all super young, single, nothing to lose.
Well, if I could just say one thing that we witnessed today, we were talking about it on the drive over here. You lead in an incredible way as a leader, and these interns are blessed to have you. We watched, I don't know how many times that chute opened today and how many bulls came out, how many broncs came out, but we watched as every time you would quickly celebrate whatever they did right with them, and cheered them on. You were there, and then after that, you started to show them some things that they could improve upon. And so often in life, I think we just want to be the cheerleader. We don't want to address the bad, but first addressing the good. They respect you, they look to you, they want to know, and then because of the love that you share for them, and that you're cheering them on, and then you set the tone for, okay, now here's what we're going to do to conquer more the next time.
Yes, sir.
And we all watched you do that today. It was incredible to see, and the respect that they have for you was just admirable. So we've learned a lot by just kind of being a fly on the wall over the last couple of days, and seeing how you do things, and we'll hopefully be able to go back and apply a lot of that into our daily lives.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys for sure. You saying that and you guys noticing it. There's, and each intern is different. Willie, he tends to get so hard on himself. He wants it to be perfect so badly, and that's okay. But so, like, when I go into a conversation with him, I just got to tell him, like, hey, look, first off, these are the 9 things you've done right. So just shake it off. And then if you want to work on something, it's this. Well, then Donnie today, like, he had been bucked off that horse maybe the last time he got on her. He's ridden her a couple times. But last trip, he had an off day and she had her best day. And anyhow, so him riding that bronc today, the way he rode her, handled her. There's no I have nothing. Let's not even pick apart anything. Just all celebration. Donnie's been on like 200 horses, and he's been here 4 years, and he's won checks at most of the rodeos he's been to this year, and he'll make the little AMI finals, and here pretty soon he'll get his PRCA permit, then his card, circuit finals.
That's so cool, because the last time I saw him, it was on Netflix. And he was, the
most gnarly buck-offs you could even imagine. And probably the rankest buck-offs he's had were in that show.
Really? That's awesome.
But,
to watch him today do what he did, and I think we had 4 camera angles with all of our team kind of capturing that. We were all excited for him. And
that's a PRCA bucking horse.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a real deal bucking horse. Like, that wasn't a dink bull, or dink bronc. That was a real one.
It's awesome.
So
kudos to him. That was incredible. And you could see he was in the zone before getting on that bronc. I mean, he was over there. It's what did you say? 90% mental, and the rest is
in your head. Yeah.
He was there today. He was there ready to ride. You could tell. And when he came out, I mean, it was lights out. It was awesome. Sure. Really cool to capture that.
What all different industries, hunting, now, you know, and you've been in rodeo. Like, I'm not the first rodeo contestant to take mountain ops by any means, but what other industries, physical fitness wise or anything physical sports wise, that do you see mountain ops really?
Yeah. If you look at the ops mountain, obviously there's a lot of symbolism in the name of mountain. You're facing mountains daily, and we're all here to conquer mountains in life. But then the ops is outdoor performance supplements. We will always stay within an outdoor performance realm, and that started with hunting. That's our core, and it will always be our core. We will not alienate that core. It's been an incredible audience. It's who we are. We are hunters, and we love what we do. But then we've branched out, but it hasn't been branched out away from hunting. It's been like, law enforcement, military, tactical. We have a special ops program on our website where those, serving in our military and law enforcement can receive a discount. And so we do a lot with them right now, and you'll see more of that expanded into some generalized mountain biking, hiking, outdoors, that type of thing, camping and such. We're definitely a family-friendly brand, and so all the content we put out is family-friendly, and the family loves to see it and participate in it. All the events we hold, I want to make sure that anything I do, my kids would be proud of being there by my side. And so that's what we've done. We've tried to create a family environment to keep it that way. And so, but those are some realms we're playing in a little bit now, but we're just scratching the surface. And so we will do more. Honestly, we feel like we're just scratching the surface within the hunting industry. So we've got a long ways to go even there. And we do a lot online, and then we have incredible retail partners. And a lot of them are through farm and fleet type stores that, we need to get it in Teskies and be selling it there, but that's our audience. That's our crowd. It's God-fearing, truck-loving,
yes, sir,
type of individuals. And so we'll just continue to expand in that, and with some incredible product launches to come that we're excited about adding to the line. But a lot of people need to be educated on enduro and on the benefits of that. And, we've had these products for such a long time. And so we've got just new customers coming in the door all the time. So we're in a mode of taking care of those new customers, helping them on their journey. And the transformations that have come through have been incredible. We have thousands and thousands of transformations that have transpired through mountain ops and lives that have been changed. And that's an awesome, probably one of the most special parts of what we do is seeing people transform for the better.
Yes. Yeah, you guys have a lot of success stories that you can there's plenty of Transformation Tuesday posts that Mountain Ops
there's quite a few, and that's been unreal, because looking back 12, 13 years ago, it was we were just getting started, and had I planned on this? No. Like, I wanted things to succeed, but to now see the hundreds of thousands of customers that have now come through the doors and have experienced something with Mountain Ops has been awesome.
I've done a lot of hunting in my lifetime. Like, we were always dove hunting when I was a kid, little bit of deer hunting. I love duck hunting, got really into that, like the rest of the world did whenever Duck Dynasty came along.
Yeah.
And been doing a lot of noodling.
Yeah.
I think the very first time I was introduced to mountain ops, though, it was a bullfighter. Like, I remember being in a rodeo setting, because I remember thinking, like, man, that's a cool name for a company.
Who was the bullfighter?
I don't remember. It was somebody taking it.
Shorty?
No, it was just somebody taking it. They weren't endorsed by Mountain Ops. They were just like consuming it, and I was just like, dang, that's a really cool name for a supplementation company. And I was like, that's neat. And then kind of saw it around just a little bit, and then in the rodeo industry, and then started running around with Hannah and Jeff.
Yeah.
And then that's when I really got introduced to it, and started using her code. She has a code every now and then.
She's got a code.
Yeah.
There's a lot more we need to do in country, western, cowboy, rodeo. There's so much opportunity for us there, and it's relationships with people like you that help us, create awareness in those spaces. So
and they're all hunters.
Yep.
Like that's definitely, I would say, and I'm not gonna just sit here and fib and act like Cam, my Cam is to elk hunting as I am to rodeo.
Yeah.
Like the passion that he has behind elk hunting, for me, no doubt, I have that behind being a cowboy and being a rodeo cowboy. But some of the things that but we both have that same lifestyle mindset. Just man stuff.
Man stuff all the way.
Stuff.
Yep.
Right.
Hardcore man stuff. That's
exactly.
Awesome.
So, anyhow, that's where it's been awesome to watch the Mountain Ops journey. As far as trajectory though, so like I'm sure a lot of people are like, man, y'all blew up. Well, it's been 9 years.
Yeah.
How would you map out the trajectory of the success of the company? Has it been gradual? Was it?
It was pretty quick, but you gotta, what some people don't see is that there was, 4.5, 5 years of another business that started creating products and developing products through doctors' offices. So we had an established line of products that had already been vetted by doctors that kind of stood the test of time. We saw the results. We saw the benefits through a lot of people. So when we started Mountain Ops, it wasn't just a fingers crossed, prayers said, like, we hope that this product works. We knew that it worked, and we had validation on that. And so knowing that the product worked,
you weren't going to make the franchise mistake again.
Weren't going to make that again. Yeah. That, so many lessons learned there, but we had already played in the space, had experience, but, bringing on partners that understood how to speak to the hunting audience and this hunter athlete movement that we were going after was super critical for this to succeed. You've got to have multiple elements to the success. And some of those elements, it's brand, it's mission, it's product, and then you have to have distribution. Yes, and you have to have at least two of those to start to succeed. And we had an incredible mission. We had an incredible product. And then once we branded it as Mountain Ops, it resonated super well. And our brand almost looked greater than our distribution. It did. I mean, it was bigger than our distribution. Right. Now our distribution's grown quite a bit. But there's plenty more for us to go get, and so we're still a majority of our traffic and sales are online through our website, but the wholesale side, the retail side, is growing into the farm and fleet to the cowboy stores. I mean, that's where you can find us a lot of the time, and then in some grocery and convenient type shops, and so we've got a long way to go there. But we're easing into that in a way that is that allows us to scale the right way. Going back to the franchise deal, I don't want to go too big or too quick in any realm. I want to make sure that we are speaking well to it, that we have the infrastructure to support the growth, and that's kind of what we did. But when we launched Mountain Ops, it hit the market quick, and it went fast because with this movement, there wasn't another brand kind of leading it from a consumable standpoint. So we started collaborating with brands like Yeti and Sitka and Under Armour. They saw the power of what our brand was, and we had a product that had some history. It wasn't just like, okay, day one, let's see how this works. And so that added some credibility to the mix. But we've still got a great way to go, and all the right pieces to the recipe to make that happen.
Has the apparel side of your brand surprised you in how far it's? I mean, I feel like it's like a legitimate. Like I was at the NFR, and I remember seeing multiple Mountain Ops like T-shirts or caps at the NFR, and I began to realize just how big that side of it was.
Yeah,
has that always been kind of a vision of yours?
A vision of ours. Like I go back to creating this with the right partners, that we created a brand and a name that wasn't Hunter's Nutrition or hunting supplements. Like that wouldn't be cool to wear, right? It was Mountain Ops. It was a brand that people would want to wear. It looked cool, so it had the right look and feel. And then because of what we're offering through a community, we've broken down some barriers and some walls, and people hire us to do a few things, either to help them feel a part of a connected community, to lose weight, or to gain strength. And that community aspect is so important. And sometimes their first purchase is a shirt or a hat. So a decent, I would dare say, probably bigger than most supplement companies, our apparel line is quite a decent piece of our business. And to have thousands of walking billboards out there, but it means something to them. They've connected with the brand in a unique way. Through COVID, you saw a lot of disconnection with people. But the Mountain Ops community, in my opinion, was what held them together in many regards. We were in the outdoors, and the outdoor industry was blowing up during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
People were getting outdoors, and we were in wellness. We were in the supplement space. And these were two industries that had these major growth, and we were right in the middle of both of them for that growth. But I believe the apparel has grown, and that has just blown up for us because we've built a community that people trust, you know, and then the brand looks cool to wear as well. So similar to this right here.
There you go. That Dale Brisby Rodeo time tee. It's super cool. Like the interns out there, you guys gave them all some hoodies and shirts and caps, and I know one of them. Willie's already wearing his.
Willie ripped his shirt off and put it right on, and
I guarantee you there'll be 3 or 4 more that are wearing on Monday when they come back.
And there's some bag envy out there too, I think.
And then Donnie
grabbed
the
the bag.
What are you gonna do with the bag I was in?
And we're gonna send your team some bags. I mean, we saw the rodeo equipment they had, and one of the bags we have in particular is just perfect for that. I think Donnie has that bag too. So Donnie's got 2 bags now.
Donnie's got 2 Mountain Ops bags,
and it was laying out there in the dirt by the arena. And the other guys said it's the perfect bag for all their gear. So we're gonna get that out. Our VP of product will be happy to hear that it's working well in rodeo.
Yeah, we call them rigging bags.
Riggin,
Riggin.
Okay,
rigging bags. The Mountain Ops
rigging bag. Hey, there we go. I hope
Mountain Ops Dale Brisby rigging bag.
Ryan Ward at Mountain Ops, the Mountain Ops Dale Brisby rigging bag. And I think we came up with something too for a signature flavor today.
Of what?
I mean, you tell me what your favorite product is, but it was the Old Sun
Super Punch.
Yeah, the Old Sun Super Punch. We've got to create that and come out with it. So yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We've got some work to do.
I'm down. Yeah, anything really. I don't know if it's gonna be that Cam Haynes pineapple, the BCAAs.
Yeah, that stuff is pretty unbelievable. I mean, pineapple's done well for us, and the Cam Haynes BCAAs is unreal. So
yeah, well, it makes sense now that that Enduro is also the same formula as what's in Ignite, but it has caffeine, is the same as Yeti, which is the pre-workout, which has a few more products in it, and those 3. That's
we call that
day.
our trifecta.
I take the trifecta every day.
Yep.
If I'm not jogging that morning for hip pain related issues I've had lately, then I'll start with Yeti.
Yep.
And then Ignite at lunch, and then if I need to pick me up in the afternoon, it's the Enduro.
That's 100% my daily routine right
really?
There. Yep. And then BCAAs I drink throughout the day. I definitely drink them in inner workout. And then I throw Magnum in as a post-workout protein.
Yep.
Back a few years ago, I was trying to put on some muscle weight, and I'd take ammo at night. A lot of people use that as a weight loss tool to suppress appetite, but also kind of leave them feeling satisfied. It's got 4.5 servings of real fruits and veggies in every serving, and so
ammo does.
Your mom can be proud that you're getting your fruits and veggies every day, and so that product's incredible. But it's also got a casein protein that's more slowly absorbed into the body. So if you want to gain muscle and weight, then you take it at night before you go to bed, and it will work with your muscles to protect them through the night. And so I use that for a long period of time to just put on a little bit more muscle mass. But
how has the creatine taken off?
Oh my goodness. I think the first batch sold out in 2 weeks, and it was one of those products that's just kind of an add-on product, but it's one of the most used supplement ingredients in the history of supplements. Right. And so a lot of people just, once they're using creatine, they want to stick to it. And so it's been awesome to us. And we've had a few of those. Right before COVID, we launched our immune product 2 weeks before. No crystal ball, obviously. And again, just kind of God's timing on certain things. Even in business, that's our thing says we recognize God even in the workplace and acknowledge his hand in all things. And so some of these products are just the timing is inspired. And Immune was one of those right before COVID.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. STM, straight to mouth.
Straight to mouth. We've got that in the biotics and probiotics, and then multivitamins and the Immune, and now electrolytes as well. And they're all safe for kids as well. Those STMs that
they are.
A lot of people rip them off, pour them straight to mouth. We tried to create them like a pixie stick so kids could eat it like candy, but a lot of people mix it into water and just drink it. I like to mix those into my Yeti or my Ignite in the mornings. And
I usually don't get enough water anyways when I'll mix them. Be an excuse to get more water.
Yeah, you drink them diluted, right?
But the last product I got to bring up is the Slumber.
Oh,
gosh, I'm gonna try these other flavors you're talking about, but I can't get off of salted caramel.
I'll tell you what, I don't think I'm gonna need Slumber tonight after a day of ranching.
Actually, that's not the last product I'm gonna talk about. Those new Crunch bars.
Oh yeah,
Conquer Crunch.
Conquer Caramel Crunch.
Son of a gun. That tastes better than a Snickers or a Milky Way.
It doesn't seem right that it could be healthy for you. But
I was taking this stuff before you guys picked me up, and if you guys drop me tomorrow, then I mean, those things are worth. Joke's on y'all. I'd have paid more.
Yeah,
that's all I got to say.
No, those are unreal. Those were ones that we launched right after COVID. I think in June of 2020. And we launched 3 different flavors, and that one went the quickest. But then caramel had a shortage during COVID, so
dang!
So it was out of stock for a period of time. And so when it came back just recently, they've just been flying off the shelves because people have loved them. The peanut butter and the chocolate mudslide, that's the triple chocolate mudslide. Those are really good as well. But the one does taste like a Snickers or better. And but back to Slumber, like that's. If you Google sleep online, it's one of the most searched terms out there. And so we have a sleeping product that we've had for years now, and it's got our hibernate blend of ingredients to help you just kind of naturally fall to sleep at night and get a restful sleep. And that's been critical. I mean, for guys like me, and I'm sure you, like, it's hard to turn your brains off at night. Again, you're thinking about business, you're thinking about family, you're thinking about whatever you have going on. For me, it's hard to turn the brain off. And so that just, drinking that, such enjoyable flavors. You got to try the cocoa, the Slumber cocoa.
Will.
There's the chai as well is incredible, but you like the
salted caramel.
Salted caramel, yeah.
Well,
and that's awesome.
And I went on a trip. I went to a booth a couple weeks ago, and we had been going all day, and I drank too much caffeine going, and I'm like, my mind is racing, and the Airbnb was right next door to CVS. So I went in there and got some well, I mean, I better not say the product, but it was just like a gummy, and it was like, I don't know how many milligrams of melatonin in it, but I mean, I slept like 10 hours and then slept like too much.
Yeah.
And then did not feel good all day.
Get groggy.
And it just kind of reminded me of how I feel after slumber. Yeah. Like I can wake up and I can still function. Like I'm going to sleep good. I'm going to sleep all night, and I'm going to wake up and feel good.
Yep.
And I know that sounds maybe like a record or something, but that was just my experience, And anyways, I don't take it every night, but because there's some days like today where, you
know you're going to hit the pellet.
You get up at 4, we work out, we ranch, we rodeo, and, come 8:30, like you're looking for somewhere to bed down. And so I don't necessarily have to, but man, anyway.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
home run
speaking
product.
of those products. Appreciate it. Yeah, we've got a lot of fans out there enjoying these products, so it's been fun to watch.
Cool. Well, we usually wrap these up with life advice, kind of like a motto that you live by or a sentence that has impacted you. And I mean, that's what this whole podcast has been, really, your story of that. But if there's been if you could think of like a line that you would end with.
That's a good question right there. A line. I need to come up with my line. I shared a quote, shared 2 quotes earlier. They rise highest who lift as they go, and you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. So I would say that's how I conquer in life. That's how I conquer more.
Yep. I'm gonna because of the stories you've shared, I'm gonna steal one from Tough Hedeman. Donnie and I say it all the time, but take a chance. Columbus did.
Nice.
And that's what you did with Mountain Ops.
Love that.
So thank you guys for listening. We're on to the next one. Please check out mountainops.com. Sign up for the text messages. Just occasionally there may be like a free ship opportunity, something like that, the emails. But you got to get your hands on some Ignite, got to get your hands on whatever health needs you have. Mountain Ops more than likely has something to help you accomplish that. So check that out. Check out the social media. Trevor, the whole team, they're experiencing different things with ambassadors like myself. So you guys have a great day. Drink your Ignite, and we're on to the next one, old son. Pow, pow.